I'm not.
You're watching Chili Boy Productions. I'm Larry Chili Boy Chilson, and we are here for our season 4 Game of Thrones character ranking. And for the second or third, actually, I think all three of our solo ones, we're back to do it live. So, woo! Of
Yeah,
course, I'm joined by Tyler, my co host for Game of Thrones. Hey, Tyler.
yeah. It's always fun to do some character rankings. This time, I guess it took a little bit longer to get through season 4 compared to our usual pace, but
Yes.
we eventually got there. Like you said, this is our third of the live versions because we did the first
Mhm.
one not live, and that took
Yeah,
like an eternity to do.
it did. It took an eternity just to film, and then it took another eternity just to edit. So
Well, I
this
felt
has been
bad.
fun.
I felt bad between that and then all the editing you told me about with the finale episode that went up today as well for
Oh,
season 4.
yeah, that was fun. But yeah, it's been fun because then we also get to scandalize anybody who decides to pop into these live streams with
Oh man.
our live rankings, and that's always a good time too. So
I mean, I always feel bad because there's always usually one or two in all of these that people get
yeah.
angry about.
We'll see. This one, once again, we have quite a few ties. We're pretty similar in most of it, actually. At least in the general area, our rankings kind of lined up. There were just like one or two that were a little bit out there, but most all of them, we were on the same wavelength for
Well,
the
there's a
most part.
couple. Well, there's been a couple that have consistently I have not had much interest in as the seasons go forward. That we'll get to inevitably.
Yes. So we have a total of 57 characters to get through in this ranking.
So
It
many.
just is, it always feels so weird because looking back, this is technically the most deaths that we've had for our named characters on the rankings in season
Yeah.
4. But they're all pretty similar. Like 8 to 10 characters die off, and yet our rankings continue to be 55 plus characters
Yeah.
still
The
every
people,
season.
the cast gets larger and larger even despite the deaths.
Yes. So let's go ahead and do this. If you're watching on the replay, leave your ranking down below and let us know all of the positions you think we got wrong as we work through this. So we're kicking this thing off at number 57. One last time, he holds his crown for 4 seasons in a row as our collective worst character on the show, and that is Joffrey Baratheon. So Tyler, he was only in 2 full episodes. How did he get this last place still?
I think a lot of it is definitely residual from previous seasons. Just he's still nobody's really topped him as far as the terribleness, just because he has been consistently terrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it was super satisfying to see him die. So, I mean, of course, but I mean, even still, in that very limited amount of screen time he had this year, like it wasn't like he ever improved as a character. Like it's not like he ever did anything nice, if you will, or not self-centered around him. So it was definitely, at least to this point, probably the most satisfying death of Game of Thrones. Usually, up to this point, a lot of the deaths were really sad, characters that I really enjoyed. So this was probably like one of the first, if not the first one in Game of Thrones where I was like, yes, please kill this character. I don't want to see him ever again.
Yeah, I mean, in this episode he dies in, he was in like rare form of horrible. He
Even
was
more than usual.
so horrible in that episode. So just that alone made it pretty easy to rank him last. And we're not going to get the chance to do it ever again. So
I
I felt
mean,
he
yeah.
needed to be that last place character.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who takes the last place, I guess, for seasons 5 through 8. Then,
Yeah, we'll have different people in these last 4 seasons. So, not really RIP, more like peace out,
yeah,
Joffrey.
yeah, no rest in
Glad
peace there.
glad to not have to deal with you any longer.
Yeah, bye, Felicia, kind of thing.
So, next we have our first tie at number 55 and 56
Oh man, really?
between Ramsay Bolton and the Mountains, Sir Gregor Clegane. We'll start with Sir Gregor. He also only really was in 2 episodes, kind of 3, and he's one that's kind of dead right now.
Yeah, you told me he was dead-ish. I believe that was.
Dead-ish at the moment. Why was the mountain that low for you, Tyler?
He killed Pedro Pascal. Like,
Period.
like,
Period.
do I need to elaborate further? Like, do I?
It's done. That's it.
I mean, he's a terrible character in the sense that, like, just personality-wise, he's never, even this. I mean, he's had so many different actors at this point, but all across his different portrayals, he's been like a consistent brute grunt character that's never done like a nice thing. And now he's just a murdering animal, basically. And as we see that as he crushes Oberyn's skull, so and seeing as how I love Oberyn as a character, of course I hate him because he killed one of my favorite characters. And I mean, it was kind of neck and neck with Joffrey, but like Joffrey, I guess collectively has done a lot worse in all 4 seasons, especially because he's been like a major character. Like, the Mountain's not really been like a major character. He kind of just pops in for 1 or 2 episodes every season, and then we don't see him again. Half the time he's a different guy. So sometimes I'm confused if it's the Mountain or just someone else. But yeah, I mean, he killed Oberyn, and I guess he probably will survive just because of whatever weird mumbo jumbo they're doing with Qyburn.
Yeah,
but I mean, I hope.
And while he killed Oberyn, he admitted to raping his sister
terrible
and
deeds,
killing the children and killing her. So yeah, I mean, it was a whole culmination of horrible person winning in that circumstance.
Yeah,
and then we have Ramsay Bolton this season, who got that Bolton name. He was able to ditch Snow. Thanks a lot, Roos. We'll get to you soon. But
yeah, I guess that's an improvement going from Ramsay Snow to Ramsay Bolton.
But he's still just a horrible person.
Yeah.
What don't you like about Ramsay right now, Tyler?
I mean, everything. I feel like it's like, do people like Ramsay Bolton?
I don't think so.
I say you're the veteran Game of Thrones fan. I'm more of the novice Game of Thrones.
They love him as a villain.
Well,
in general.
Fair. I like a good villain. I mean that's fair. That's a fair thing to say. But like the stuff he says, and he does is very despicable. As he's like emotionally tortured, physically tortured, mentally tortured Theon this whole time, to the point where like I went into it being like I don't like Theon. So like good, like he's getting some sort of comeuppance because he was so terrible for that period of time and the way that he treated the village and getting people killed. And then it went a little over. There was a tipping point, I think, probably like maybe halfway through that season where he was torturing Theon, where I was like, okay, this is a bit too much. Yeah. This guy is a little bit too sick for my liking. And it's just gotten worse from there with his actions throughout all the episodes, especially as now he's kind of like tortured Theon to the point where he gives him a new name and he's like his little puppet kind of thing, which is very despicable. I imagine it'll get worse. I mean, I feel like these people in the bottom, especially Ramsay, will probably stay in the bottom. I can't imagine them having I can't imagine them having any sort of redemption arc that makes them, pump, sky up the list, but we'll see.
Yeah, flaying the Ironborn after they surrender. Yeah, he's terrible. He's horrible. Well, then at 54, we have Littlefinger, Mr. Peter Baelish. So this season, he probably did, well, I guess he did his 2 best deeds this season, I'd say. Right. He conspired to kill Joffrey, and he killed Lysa Arryn.
Yeah, it's very interesting, I guess, when you put it that way, because like I've been someone who's never been a big fan of Littlefinger in any shape or form, never trusted him, but it's kind of like tough this season because I still don't like him, but like he's doing things that I'm okay with. So it's like, oh, you can kill Joffrey, that's cool. I like that. Yay for killing Joffrey. And then Lysa Arryn was kind of crazy anyway, and she was just a very odd character to say the least. And just the way that savagery of just pushing her out the moon door. I mean, like,
if only it didn't come on the heels of him
being a creep.
Really being a creep this season. Like, he already was kind of a creep, but he turned that up like to a 10 in season 4.
Something about that family, man. Something about that family. He's just going from room to room, it seems like, with the Stark family, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, so he had his cool little line, I guess, but Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
All right, so number 52, we also have a tie at 52 and 53. We'll start with the lesser character who didn't make as much of an impact, and that is Stir, the
Oh,
leader of the Thens, the cannibal tribe of the wildlings. Why'd you have Stir as low as you did, Tyler?
I mean, I feel like that's another one I don't really need to explain a whole lot. Murderous cannibal man killing villages of people, threatening children, saying, gonna eat your parents. Go tell the Night's Watch we're coming. No redeeming qualities. Just a very disgusting. I could like that's appropriate for a cannibal, disgusting individual. So it
You
was
didn't
very
like
satisfying to see how he got killed.
you didn't like those scars on his bald head? That didn't
It
have
was
as a redeeming.
it was an interesting design choice, but it was not enough to redeem him in any sense of the word.
Yeah, I think we all cheered when Steer died. Peace
It
out,
was a
bro.
it was a cool death. It was one of the cooler
Yeah.
deaths in that episode.
Oh. Well, then we have another dead character at 52 in this tie, and
All the
that
dead people.
is Shay.
Yeah.
Talk about probably the biggest fall from grace, I think. The Theon, he fell pretty hard, but I don't think any of us really liked Theon in season 1 before he fell hard. Season 1, we all really liked Shay, and we've liked her a little bit less, I'd say, in the last couple seasons. But she was still like in the 20s, like in 20 plus in our ranking
Mm-hmm.
last season. So for her to plummet down to 52 this season.
Well, I mean, I thought about I for a minute there. I did actually consider putting her lower, but then I thought of like, okay, who are these other people? Like, I can't really rationalize putting her above, like, a lower than some of these other people. But like, I had to put her low because of just the utter betrayal to Tyrion this season. In every shape or form. Between going up there, lying on the stand, sleeping with his dad, like trying to murder him when he walked into the room.
Yeah, it was started out a little bit sympathetic for Shay, but you were still like a little frustrated because it's like, girl, he's trying to chase you away because he cares about you, and I'm sorry that he had to get mean. And then you're just like, oh damn, girl. Like when she came into that courtroom.
That was shocking though.
Ma'am. And then obviously the final episode, finding her in Tywin's bed was a shock, and like, really? Okay. Great,
Yeah.
Shay.
Yeah,
So
that
the
was
ultimate fall from grace, girl. What is going on?
Yeah, like she may have been a little bit higher in the ranking if she wasn't in his bed. Maybe.
Yeah. If it was just the one betrayal, because then we could have also left it like, well, maybe she got threatened and Cersei got to her, but then
that was the
double back.
That's what I thought of, at least in that initial portion, where it's like maybe she's being forced to say these things, against her will, and then later on in the season, she keeps doing worse things, and it's like, well, now I don't really feel bad for you.
She with your daddy in the bed.
The ultimate betrayal of any kind. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh, Shay, girl, no, it wasn't a good look for you this season.
No.
All right. Well, moving along. Now we have number 51, the biggest coward at the wall. We have Janos Slynt down here at 51. Just what an idiot. Like, he's just so dumb.
He's never been a character I liked anyway. It was very satisfying when he got sent to the wall.
Yeah.
But then now he's at the wall and he's just a coward, like you kind of said.
He like conspired trying to get Jon killed, like trying to send him on this little mission to get him murdered beyond the wall. And then he's like trying to bark around orders, but is such a coward he hides below in the battle.
With Gilly.
Gilly sitting there just so flabbergasted, saying giants don't exist as he watches them march right to the wall.
Right, that was the other stuff. The fact that he didn't believe in any of this stuff, and then just like looks one cold in the face and looks stupid.
Yeah, Janos Slynt. Ugh. It's like, just terrible. All right, so moving along to number 50, we have Roose Bolton. So why do you have Roose so low on your list, Tyler?
Maybe it's some of the residual anger and disdain from killing Robb. Maybe. I mean, I feel like that's a good enough reason, but also, I mean, the Boltons in general are not very good people. Like, you know, the flaying of people. I mean, he's treated. I mean, even though, like, let's be real, Ramsay is a terrible son, but like he treats his family terrible as well. So, I mean, just in general, not a very likable person, not loyal, obviously, as we've seen
You can
in the
certainly
past.
see, like, part of why Ramsay came out the way he did. This is the man. That's his father. So he had no chance to be normal.
No.
Yeah, thankfully Ruth. I mean, he didn't have a huge role this season, thank God.
Right.
Because he's just annoying. Like, and he's not even a fun. Like, at least you can have a little bit of fun with people like Joffrey or one of the big exaggerated villains, but he's boring and stupid.
So yeah, and he killed
Bruce
Rob.
Bolton,
So
and he
I'm
killed
so
Rob. All right, at number 49, we have Grand Maester Pycelle. He elevates above these other people just because he continually lets himself be a punching bag for Cersei. That was like his main contribution this year. This season 4, just be Cersei's punching bag.
I mean, that scene at the wedding was hilarious.
So good. His best scene of the whole season.
Yeah, it was just him getting yelled at and insulted.
Because every time he opens his mouth, I mean, this season they did dunk on him. Even Tywin, when he's like giving the speech before the battle, and Tywin's like, "Shut him up! Like, ring the bell, something, God." But he just is so damn annoying every time he talks.
Basically,
when he gave that stupid testimony at Tyrion's trial, it was just like, oh my God.
It was just weird because like he's like faking being like this old feeble man still.
Give it up. We don't care, Pycelle. When are you gonna keel over and die already?
Yeah,
because we don't know how old you actually are. But
I don't know.
You're still old.
Yeah, he's looked in pretty like close to death's door. So hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. All right. Well, up next for number 47 and 48, our next tie are two characters who didn't have a whole lot of screen time this season, and that is Selyse Baratheon, Stannis' wife, and Robin Arryn. So this was, I mean, we did get some of her in season 3, but how did you feel about Selyse this season?
I think she's crazy. like I don't know how else to describe her. She's like full in on like the cult vibe, willing to just burn her family for like and she's like into it. Like you saw in our reactions that we've had where she's like full on into it, burning these people. Like that's not normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it takes a special kind of woman to be married to Stannis Baratheon, but I mean,
and sitting there, she's like excited that he slept with Melisandre, basically. Like,
I mean, she's weird. She's just weird.
Like mean to her daughter. That's like really awkwardly rude and mean to her little daughter for no reason. So
yeah, not a great look as a character.
And then we have our favorite child, Robin Arryn.
I mean, he edges her out just slightly. I feel just because like he's just a very obnoxious little kid. I mean, he's kind of like a less psychopathic version of Joffrey.
Like you could see it a couple years down the line with the right mentoring, he could become Joffrey.
With the right tools and mentorship, he would absolutely probably become Joffrey.
He just wants everybody flying through that moon door, so it could happen. But again, thankfully, I mean, I kind of wish he had got thrown out that moon door too. But
me too.
I guess you take what you can get.
That's what I was hoping for. I was like, push him out next, Littlefinger.
Lord. Well, at number 46.
He's an orphan now, so
yeah, he is an orphan now. He's under Littlefinger's protection, so we'll see how that goes.
Maybe he will become the next Joffrey Baratheon then.
Well, at number 46, we have Qyburn, our Cersei's like new favorite little maester in the capital.
Yeah, this like weird Victor Frankenstein like dude.
Yeah, he pretty much single-handedly is saving the mountain before our eyes, which is pretty much his defining feature to get him this low, I'd say.
For me, at least.
He hasn't done much else this season. He's kind of just been around, getting with Cersei to, introduce himself, and then Yeah, we find out he's like trying to Frankenstein the mountain back to life. So
Yeah,
no,
between
Kyber.
that and then he gave Jamie his hand. He, fixed up his
Yes.
hand and all that stuff. So like that's kind of like his like weird ways he has.
Well, at number 44, our next tie is between Liza Aaron and Sir Alistair Thorne. So Liza's our next dead character. Woo!
Right.
Hallelujah. That's a good thing this season. A lot of these dead characters are pretty low in our ranking right now. So good.
They're very satisfying deaths, though.
Yeah. Liza, oh my gosh, threatening to throw Sansa out that door. Just a
mess.
jealous, crazy woman. Thank God she's gone.
Yeah, she was wild. Like you thought, like at first she was going to be like rational when it comes to how she's dealing with things, and then she just goes off the wall, starts being all crazy, threatening to throw her out the moon door. Then she gets thrown out the moon door. So.
Peace, Liza, and that poor actress has never played a normal character again. So
yeah, we were saying that when she popped up in the Green Knight.
even that was like not. Hey, oh, and now my dog is angry.
The dog is also for Liza Aaron.
The dog is like chanting for her to get thrown out the moon door. Well, then Sir Alistair Thorne this season, still a dick.
Yeah, pretty much.
He had literally like his moments in the battle were okay. Like he was got a cool little action scene.
That's what made him go higher up on my list. Yeah.
But then you think back and you're like, dude, you're the one who pretty much let them get in here because you wouldn't freaking listen. John told you what to do, and you told him no, and now here they are. So I'm glad you admitted you were wrong, but too late.
Yeah, just think of how things could have been if people actually just listened to Jon Snow. Makes you wonder.
Almost got himself killed by Tormund. Was no match for that giant redhead. But
that was a good fight though. It's funny though because I remember in our reaction I was more so rooting for Tormund even though he was supposed to be like the antagonist.
Yeah, Sir Alistair, he'll have you rooting for the enemy real quick.
I do like Tormund.
Well, then we have a tie at number 42 as well. We'll start off with the character who also didn't do very much this season. Perplexed Tyler a little bit when he showed up on the ranking. It's Mace Tyrell.
Yeah, that was one I was like, wait a minute, let me remember this fellow. Like what?
So he showed up in multiple episodes. That's how he got his little face on this ranking. He got like flamed by his mother in a scene in the wedding.
Right.
She dismissed him away, and then he was a bumbling idiot on the Tyrion freaking trial, just over there, an idiot. Ryan, it's Marjorie's father, Ryan.
That's how
Marjorie's dad. The warden, not the warden, the freaking, I don't know, the leader of the Tyrells. So yeah, he was there. He's done other weird fantasy stuff too, that actor. But yeah. Then we have a more substantial character at number 42 in Stannis Baratheon. So this might be a controversial one to people. I don't know. I think Stannis is a very divisive character. But if you watch our reactions, you'll know we come out on the side of not really liking Stannis.
I mean, it's tough because like I do like he's fine sometimes, but like sometimes he's not. He's definitely a more in the middle character for me.
He's a hard character to like warm up to. Like, he's not charismatic. Like, this is why Renly had all those followers and Stannis had nobody, because you're like, oh, he's cold and he's kind of mean. He's following this crazy red woman. Like, out
of the Baratheon brothers, he's definitely like my least favorite, probably.
Yeah, so it just, I don't know. Yay, Stannis. I'm glad he showed up, I guess. But now he's like taking Mance Rayder hostage. We'll see where that goes. It was an exciting moment, at least. He had an exciting moment there at the end.
Yeah, I think I'm more excited for everyone else when he shows up besides him, whether it be Sandra or Davos.
Yeah. Melisandre definitely has more presence to her, and Davos is certainly easier to root for. So, all right, at number 41, I'm expecting another Who. We have
Oh God.
Dantos Hillard, Sir Dantos from the chat. I know you probably remember Sir Dantos. He also
Our
didn't have
king.
too big of a role this episode or this season, but a pivotal role. He is the one who got the poison necklace to Sansa and then smuggled Sansa out of the capital before getting killed by Littlefinger. So
Yeah, that's why it made me upset because I was like, oh, that's nice. Oh, he's dead. Like,
oh, he's
all
gone.
right.
Oh, great. He came back for this, and now he's dead.
Yeah,
Cool.
immediately, just like right on the boat, just killed him. He just throw him. He was already on the boat to be transported away.
Yeah, it was nice knowing you for a minute, Dantos. We thought we might like you, but now we'll never really know.
Yeah, you were all right, I guess, in your very limited screen time.
Well, now we have our first three-way tie at 37, or 38, 39, and 40. Lord have mercy. All right, so we have Loras Tyrell, Reek/Theon, and Tommen Baratheon all kind of tying here. So Loras didn't do much this season. Loras, like, we've liked Loras in the past. He just wasn't here very much.
Yeah,
to like
Loras is one of those characters I just think it's funny because he's always around and they get flamed by Cersei.
I mean, yeah, his best moment was definitely in the wedding when he owned Jaime in their little exchange. That was like the highlight for Loras Tyrell this season.
Really,
and then he
that's probably
disappeared.
why he was up. Yeah, he's somewhere. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see him again.
Yeah, roaming the gardens, I guess. I don't know.
He's just waiting to get married to Cersei.
He's looking pretty with his blonde locks, waiting for Cersei at their wedding.
And putting that wedding off as long as they can.
Yeah. Then we have Reek/Theon, who we just kind of feel bad for still.
Yeah, I mean, another season for a period of time. For a period of time, I did like, I liked him, then I disliked him. Now I'm in, I just feel bad for him at this point because he's like a emotional mess and he's just, PTSD galore. He's just a prisoner now. So
seeing him send his sister away when she tried to rescue him.
I thought you were gonna talk about. I thought you were about to talk about the fact that he got his dick cut off, sending his dick away.
Sending that away to his father who didn't give a damn. Having him play himself to get the castle.
What a weird role to play. You having to play your old self and your character doesn't work out.
Yeah. And then we have good old Tommen, our current king, the king of the Seven Kingdoms right now. Tommen has been fine. He also hasn't had too much to do so far.
He's very neutral because he's very obviously being pulled in a bunch of different directions by other people and to be manipulated, whether it be Tywin or Marjorie. So it's kind of like this power struggle. I guess now not as much because Tywin's dead. But, the power struggle of who's going to be able to shape the king. Was it going to be Tywin? Was it going to be Marjorie? Marjorie kind of literally snuck into his quarters to really sink her claws into him, which was, I guess, a bit weird due to the age gap in them. But,
Yeah, when he's a child. Ooh, let me make sure this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oop, all right. So I was I don't know. Hopefully I didn't just freeze up. Okay. So Tommen, he's fine. He's better than Joffrey, so that's obviously a plus. I prefer him as a king so far in his couple of episodes.
The bar is low.
Yes, the bar is so low. I want to know more about Sir Pounce, his cat, but that's, I guess, a story for a different day. All right, so at number 37, we do have...
Should I back out and come back in because of the lagginess?
Sure. All right, we're gonna have
stall for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna have Tyler pop out for a second. Oop, I just because we have a little bit of computer difficulties, it appears. So we have Ryan talking about Loras getting sidelined and roasted. I noticed actually going through this, and we'll talk about some of the other ones, quite a few of the characters who had kind of prominent roles, or at least semi-prominent roles in the earlier seasons, weren't in season 4 quite as much. So that's interesting. Obviously, we have our like core main characters who are still around, but people like Loras or even Brand's storyline got a little bit sidelined. We talked about that in our latest reaction. So, plus lots of deaths. It actually even felt like there were more deaths, I feel like, in season 4 in comparison to the previous seasons. Season 2 is the lightest when it comes to deaths so far, and season 4 just edging out 1 and 3, which both were murder happy as well, but not quite as murder happy as season 4 turned out to be, particularly that finale that we just reacted to with Real James earlier today. Yeah, that was like the most murderous finale. It's like, oh, okay. Are we sure this isn't episode 9? Because lots of people are dying. Lots of people are dying. I agree, Joey. I agree. All right, let's see.
Yay, I'm back.
Yay! Hi, Tyler.
Guess I'd stall. Do whatever. Be like the Nice Watch and stall for a minute there.
Yeah. All right, so at number 37, we have the Red Woman herself, Lady Melisandre. Another one. I feel like, so she had that weird moment with Selyse where she was like, Selyse was checking her out.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment, yeah.
Melisandre continues to enjoy not wearing clothes. She heavily uses her looks and her sensuality to her advantage.
Right, yeah.
The Lord of the Light is not a prude lord like the one Christians serve here on our earth. Well, she's another one. Stannis, after they decide to go north, we didn't see Stannis and Davos and Melisandre all that much until episode 10. They pop back up.
Yeah, right at the end. I guess it's more of like her ranking is kind of a residual of other seasons where she's, her character is kind of getting some storyline growth.
Yeah. And it was like the end of last season that she saved Davos. So we were on a high with her for a little bit. We're like, okay, girl.
Yeah, we'll do it. Davos, so I can tolerate her for a little bit longer.
All right, number 36, someone I know Tyler is just so excited to always talk about. We have Dolorous Ed from The Night's Watch.
The Night's Watch.
One of the many of Tyler's most exciting characters of the show.
I have never been on the hype train for a lot of those people.
He survived. He's like the one John friend, other than Samwell, who made it out of that battle.
Yeah, a couple of his other friends didn't, so that's true.
Yeah, so, not really all that much to say about good old Dolorous Ed.
No, he lived. That's like his character trait, I guess.
We're glad. We'll maybe we'll bump you up next season. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, or you'll just die with everybody else, I guess.
Well, speaking of dead characters, at number 35, we have our next death, and that is Jojen Reed.
Oh, yeah.
Much
the
like
the ageless wonder.
The ageless. He's like 30 something, and still looks like this child. I mean, he's always looked like a child the whole time. Somebody, I was like, what? Who was it? Did a character comparison of like these two people on the show were the same age while recording. I think it was the Mountain. I think the actor that played the Mountain and the actor that played Jojen Reed were the same age when they recorded.
That's wild.
That is insane.
I need whatever Jojen Reed's actors is. What's his secrets? What's the skin? What's the beauty tips? I need the skin routine.
Well, Jojen was much like Stannis in his storyline. We saw them the first 2 episodes, and then we didn't catch back up to that storyline until episode 10 again, and then he died.
I made the joke because I was like, oh yeah, where the hell these people have been? Who are these people? Because they've been gone for like all of season 4.
Yeah, so it's an emotional little death. He helped Bran get to the tree.
It was a real surprise seeing him just get shanked to death by a skeleton man in the snow or whatever.
And he was looking rough. I mean, he probably wasn't going to last much longer anyway.
No. That's true. I guess if it was a quicker, I guess, way to go out that way than to just drag out his death for however long.
Yeah. Well, coming in at number 34, we have Gilly.
Yeah.
Lovely little Gilly. Survived her time.
Another neutral character, I feel.
Yeah, she survived her time having to live down at that Moorestown brothel that Samwell sent her off to.
Just left her there.
Thankfully, Ygritte wasn't in a baby murdering mood that day and let her live. So
Very good.
was good.
Very true.
And now she said she's staying by Samwell's side. So I think this was one of our biggest disparities. I think I had Gilly much higher than you did. And then she kind of evened out here in a middle area.
Well, she's just like, she's like a very middle character, you know. She's not like a part of one of the main stories, I feel. She's kind of just a side piece in a story. Well, she's like a side piece of a side piece, because the story with Jon and the Night's Watch, you know, Samwell's in the Night's Watch and she's with Samwell. So like, I mean, she's like a side piece of a side piece of a side piece.
Yes. All right.
Nice character.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have like a lot to say about her, I guess.
Yeah, she's nice. She's lovely.
As long as you're like a nice person, you're like in the middle as far as characters. I feel like, you know, in Game of Thrones.
I feel like you could separate them. There's like 4 quadrants. Are you entertaining or are you not? And then, do I want you to die or would I prefer that you live? And Gilly, not all that entertaining, but I want her to live. I don't want actively to see her die. So,
yeah,
so she falls there.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, we have our tie at number 32 and 33 with Maester Aemon and Shireen Baratheon.
Our old king.
Maester Aemon, he's killing it. He is still kicking.
I'm still surprised that he's still alive after that battle at the end.
He survived the battle. He survived 100 years on this earth. He's blind, but he's still going. He's outlasted most all these youngins out here.
It's wild. I would have loved to have seen him somehow get in on the action though at the wall.
If you missed it, we were actively rooting for a Daredevil scenario with Maester Aemon at that battle.
He could have been like Stick from Daredevil. Your main man Stick.
Oh Lord, yeah. Wait for that Daredevil reaction of Stick. I loved him. But yeah, we all love Maester Aemon. We love a secret Targaryen around here. So
that's like a weird thing though, that he's like the secret Targaryen. And like it's like said in passing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. This is what we need. Maester Aemon versus the Night King, the leader of the White Walkers.
Imagine.
Yes.
That'd be some like old Luke versus like the Emperor kind of thing.
We'll be cheering Maester Aemon on the side.
I mean, I want. Does he got moves? I mean,
if Samwell can kill one, Maester Aemon can kill one. I think.
I'm just looking at the Targaryen. Does he got like? Does he got some abilities? Does he got a dragon somewhere? Did he have a dragon somewhere?
I guess we are not confirmed or denied if he's like fireproof like Daenerys. So
that's what I mean. Like, I'm waiting to see. Can we see that? You know how epic that would have been to see the wall where like a big old fire happened, and then he's like, it's like, no, Maester Aemon, and he just walks out of the fire.
That would have been pretty epic.
Man, this opportunity, man.
Well, then we also have Shireen Baratheon tied here because she's in Stannis' story. We also didn't see much of her. We saw more of her, I think, actually in season 3 when she was introduced.
Yeah, well, she's a cute character because I like her. I like her moments she has with Davos.
Yeah, and then she had that weird, that good speech when Melisandre tried to lure her in, and she's like, "Nah, girl,
right.
I'm good."
She shut that down really fast. Yeah.
But yeah, Shireen, she's a very lovely little girl. We just don't get to spend all that much time with her. So she kind of falls into the middle here. Again, exactly. I don't want her to die at all. I actually prefer her to live, but she doesn't do all that much. So there we go. Now, speaking of characters that didn't do all that much for most of the time, we have a tie at number 30 with Gren. We'll start with him, who is dead now. Um,
I was thumbs upping before the death.
okay.
But see, I wasn't thumbs
Just to
upping.
clarify.
Bad time.
You know, Gren was part of that troop that defended the gate against the giants. So we tribute you, Gren. We appreciate your service. I would
have liked to have seen the battle. That was kind of the disappointment for me. That we didn't get to see the battle unfold.
He also got in on that action at the Chrysters little hut. Yeah. He had a cool moment there or two. So you were a good friend, Gran. R.I.P. You get an R.I.P. Unlike Shay and Stir and all them.
That's a good point. Yeah, up to this point, there haven't been a lot of like real R.I.P.s.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, R.I.P. to them.
And then we have also tied at number 30, a more main character. We have Bran Stark. So I think actually I had Bran lower than you this season. Honestly, I think Bran is my least favorite character out of that little group.
Out of like that storyline?
Yes, out of that little group of people. I'm just like, okay, Bran.
I don't know. Between him and Jojen.
Yeah, I don't, because they're both weird and doing this like thread Raven.
But yeah, but yeah, they're very similar. I think in a bit personalities and like their abilities and the way they act. The only thing is Jojen can walk. I guess that's like his big difference, if you will.
I mean, Bran got the cool moment to see all those visions. He met the three-eyed raven finally. So, I mean, he had a couple moments, but
I think he's becoming more interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like it took 5 seasons. You know what I mean?
He was hardly in the season. They like cut him out of the whole middle portion of the season.
which honestly, his storyline wasn't one of my favorites anyway. So like I was okay with it. Like if people followed our reactions, like he was probably one of my least favorites for a while. So
yeah,
that's okay if we cut his out. I would still like to know where the hell OSHA is.
OSHA and Rickon.
They just are like, oh, we're gonna separate, and we're never going to show you ever again.
Great.
Yeah, like it's kind of in the same vein as with them. You know, at least we eventually got to see Bran again. Yeah. Now it's like, where the hell are OSHA and Rickon?
Well, speaking of that story, at 29, we do have Mira Reed, who had to kill her brother, technically, in the final episode. But I guess I like her just slightly more because she's more proactive, obviously, than Bran.
She's a much more competent character,
I
feel, of the group. You know, her and Hodor are like part of the main reason they have lasted as long as they have.
Yeah, without those two, they would be dead. Bran would be no longer in the show.
So you know, good for them. I like her a little bit more. So I would have been more upset if it was reversed and she was the one that got stabbed to death and not Jojen.
Jojen kept going. Oh yeah, that would be terrible. Thank God it was Jojen that died because that would be horrible. So thanks, Mira. All right, at number 28, we have our next dead character. We have Pip from the Night's Watch. Very emotional little death scene. Got us in the feels a little bit.
Murdered by Ygritte.
Murdered by Ygritte in the battlefield.
Straight up arrow through the throat after he finally killed somebody.
He was so happy of his little victory. Also got himself yelled at by Samwell earlier. He got Samwell to cuss at him. Because he didn't want to let Gilly in the door. So, not much to say about Pip either. Once again, we thank you for your service. R.I.P. little Pip. We liked you well enough. John's little friend, but all right. All right, so at number 27, we have Lord Varys, who I think most of Varys's role in season 4 particularly was so behind the scenes. Like, he's always behind the scenes and like scheming, but we just didn't see him very much of the season either, to the point where
it's weird. When I thought about it when I did the ranking, I was like, what did Varys do like in season 4?
Until he helped Jaime get Tyrion out of jail and out of the country, he was kind of absent for a good part of this whole season. he showed up. He testified against Tyrion. Had us all. If that's where we would have left Varys, he probably would have been lower on this ranking if he came out here and testified like he did against Tyrion. But the wheels were turning. He was still scheming in the backgrounds. But it's tough when you don't actually see him all that much. So
yeah.
Thanks
he's an interesting one because like I'm not a big fan of him either, but like I like him a lot more than Littlefinger. That's kind of like my stance ever since the beginning.
Yeah, we applaud you, Varys, for getting Tyrion out of there. I guess I'm happy that you left too, so you don't get killed by Cersei the moment you show your face.
That was the funnier part. Is like I better leave with him.
Yeah. Actually, let me go ahead and get on the ship too. Bye.
I wonder what the repercussions for that's going to be. That's something I'm curious about. They're going to realize he's gone, I imagine. So
they'll be looking for you too, Varys.
Yeah.
All right. So at number 26, we have Hodor, our lovable giant.
The man of few words.
The man of one word. And lots of strength, lots of endurance. He wins the endurance contest of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Bran just gets to possess him all the time.
Gets to possess him, then he's got to drag Bran around after Bran mentally traumatizes him.
That's why he's still ripped, because he has to carry this child around through everything,
Yeah. You're like, oh.
How he stays in shape. He's got to lift this boy for miles.
Just pulling him behind.
Yeah, that's why he's so damn strong.
All right, Hodor, but again, I'm glad you didn't die. Thank God. It was Jojen and not you, too. Right. That would have been horrible. Bran would have been real screwed.
They would have no muscle. It would be
0.
It would be Bran, who can't walk, and Mira.
Mira. And then Jojen just limping along.
Well, Jojen's dead. So, I mean, if it's just Bran and her, I feel like they would not get along. They wouldn't last for very long.
It'd be over with.
You'd have to carry Bran around, and I guess that would last.
They'll be moving real slow without Hodor. All right, so at number 25, we have Ilaria Sand, our bisexual queen of this season.
It's interesting because I initially had her higher, but I'm thinking did she really do a lot? Warrant being over some of these other people, or is it just my blind thirst that wants to put her higher on the list?
We stand our bisexual couple in general, and she comes in real strong when she comes in with Oberyn. Their first scenes together are real fun, and she gives one of the most dramatic and awesome screams ever.
Iconic, horrible.
Iconic scream as she watches Oberyn's head get crushed in. But yeah, other than that, she doesn't do a whole lot this season, but at least she made the most, I'd say, out of her very limited screen time in season 4.
I hope that she still sticks around is still a character. I mean, I don't know what the future holds really for her character, especially now that Oberyn's gone. But I hope that we still get to see her in some shape or form, whether or not it makes sense, or she's in mourning, doesn't want to be seen. So we don't see her.
Look away.
I know I'd be pretty traumatized if I watched my boyfriend/wife, husband or whatever, get their face crushed in. So
just the whole skull. Yeah. Well, at number 24, we have Sansa Stark. So she's out of the capital. Yay. She's finally away from King's Landing. But now she's with Littlefinger. Yeah.
Well, I've always felt bad for Sansa because it seems like she always goes from one shitty situation to another.
Yeah.
It never gets really better. Sometimes it'll get gradually better, but then it gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, even if especially if Liza was still alive right now, obviously that woman was out of her freaking mind. So her aunt was not going to be any better for her to be around. No. Littlefinger, though she seems to think she can play this game with him, he's not any better to be around either, girl.
I do think she's gotten a lot better development-wise. It's just you kind of have to be strong in the situations that you're put in, since she's constantly being thrown into these horrible situations with these horrible people, male or female. So hopefully, was it what we call her, Dark Sansa, because she's wearing a lot more dark clothes.
She's evolved. Sansa has evolved into Dark Sansa.
That's like her next evolution right now. Like, hopefully she can come out on top with having to do all this stuff with Littlefinger.
And she looks good in her Dark Sansa look. So we'll see. All right, now we have a three-way tie for 21, 22, 23. And we'll lump the first two together because they're part of the same storyline. We have Sir Barristan Selmy and Grey Worm as part of this little trio. So two of Daenerys's warriors. How did you feel about those two?
I thought they were good. I mean, Grey Worm and Sir Barristan don't really do a lot. They do a lot of standing around in the background. But, like, at least the few moments they've had, I guess, as far, if you want to call it character development, I mean, more so Grey Worm than Sir Barristan. I feel like Sir Barristan is kind of just the muscle. He kind of just stands in the background a lot. But, like, I do like the interactions we've had with him, even if they are limited. Grey Worm, I mean, Grey Worm's getting a lot better as the episodes go on because, I mean, in the beginning, he kind of felt like a glorified extra. And now he's become like a full-fledged character with a name and a storyline. And now he's like getting into this, like, I guess, budding relationship with Missandei. So I think that's part of why I kind of still like him, because I would like to see that relationship blossom if there is something there. And he, of course, is the leader of the army. So I'm curious to see
English lessons.
Yes, I mean, like, I feel like he's getting some good development. So I'm interested to see where he goes, especially because he's getting that development. I mean, I think there's a lot more room to grow and develop with him compared to Sir Barristan, because Sir Barristan is just like set in his, old man set in his ways.
And Sir Barristan is also the reason that Jorah had no chance. He was not about to let Jorah go talk to Dany by herself or nothing. He said, no. We all coming in here to expose you together, sir. So
I'm still upset about Jorah being kicked out. We haven't gotten to that yet. But,
Sir Barristan, he did Jorah dirty.
Pretty much. He came in, basically took his job.
And then also tied at 21, we have Samwell Tarly. Good old Samwell. He's still alive. Him and Maester Aemon are still kicking.
I am always shocked that he's alive. It's one of those. He's like one of the few characters in the show that I genuinely thought would die. Like every interaction he's had, like in a fight scene.
Yeah,
I mean, like, sometimes you don't know. Like some characters, you definitely think they're gonna die, and they do. And there's some characters where you definitely are shocked when they die in Game of Thrones. But like for him, like I figured like almost every time he was gonna die. And he somehow lived every single time.
He found a way.
Like White Walker, the battle this season. Like I figured the battle this season was going to be the end for him and a lot of other people. But he perseveres. He finds a way to survive. I guess good for him.
As his friends die left and right to him, he finds a way. Like a little cockroach of the Night's Watch.
I mean, I guess he stays alive because he loves Gilly so much.
Yeah, I mean, this season he's gotten a lot more forceful. He seems to kind of at least know himself a little bit better in season 4. A little bit more confident in his skills as a person.
Yeah, he's becoming a better character over time,
Yeah. All right, so at number 20, we have Bronn. And as if you've watched our previous stuff, we've always really enjoyed Bronn. I think he kind of suffers from what we've talked about with a few of these other characters. Just wasn't in season 4, like almost at all.
He kind of like, I guess he's gotten kind of like a promotion, if you will. And his promotion has kind of like, I guess, partially led him to not be involved in any of the stories, really. Like one of the main interactions I remember was when he was supposed to try and fight for Tyrion, and he said no.
It was like that, and we got like Jamie. He had 2 little training scenes, and that was
the very beginning of the season. So.
Yeah, and we haven't seen him since he told Tyrion, like, nah, brah, I'm good, thanks, though.
I
ain't fighting the mountain.
Yeah, it's always interesting. I remember when you told me a long time ago that Bronn and the actor who plays Bronn and Cersei, they can't be in the same scenes together because of their real relationship drama.
Yeah, they had that one time where he just passed by her, and that's it, and they've never been in a scene together again.
That's what I mean, because I feel like it would make sense for them interacts. You know, Cersei hates Tyrion. You know, Bronn is like a really great friend to Tyrion for the most part, and then like they should have interacted. I feel like, you know, you would think logically they would interact, but they don't because of drama in real life.
Yeah,
bad relationship, I guess.
Well, coming in at number 18 and 19, our next tie, we have Torment Giant's Bane, the wildling, all the way up in the top 20.
That is like one of the most coolest fantasy names. Like I have to say, as someone who's like not like always been a big fan of the crazy Game of Thrones names, like I think that's one of the cool ones.
Yeah, and he's just fun. I don't know, telling crazy stories about screwing a bear.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I was like, oh, we're doing that. Okay.
And he got left alive. That Jon didn't kill him, but just seeing this like behemoth of a man running around that battlefield with all of these arrows sticking out of it, and that's still going strong.
That's the thing. He had like all those arrows in him, and he was still ready to fight all those people of the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to him. You know, he's very strong, and he's willing to persevere even after all that. And as we said earlier, I was rooting for him in that battle, even though he was supposed to be, I guess, the antagonist because he's the one storming the wall.
Well, also at number 18, we have Jorah Mormont. I feel he probably would have been higher if he hadn't gotten dismissed.
Fired.
He would have been there still. So poor Jorah. He tried to make amends, but he probably should have came clean a little earlier and just told her, like, hey, this is what I was actually hired to do, and I've stopped doing that. So, you know, rather than let Sir Barristan run in and say, run in with a letter.
Where would have been the appropriate time to bring that up in Daenerys's travels, I guess, if you will. Like, you know, to bring up, like, while she's she's conquering the slave owners. Like, oh yeah, by the way, while you're conquering these people, I actually like was supposed to, you know, take you out. So I hope that's okay.
Hey, by the way, yeah.
As you're burning this man alive in front of me, maybe I shouldn't tell you this right now.
He definitely helped her while he was there this season. It gave her some good advice about the Maesters, and he wanted her to just say peace out, Marine, and head to the Westeros.
Yeah,
he's like, you don't need this shit no more, girl. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Jorah. I mean, he's like the ultimate like good friend character, I guess, if you will. And it's a shame that he has to get exiled, and I'm dying to see where he ends up next, because I guess he's just out in the world alone doing
where
something.
Are you, Jorah?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, I like the character. I hope we see him again soon. I hope it's not one of those things where we don't see him for a season or two. We just find him somewhere.
Find him dead on the ground.
Well, that would be the worst case scenario.
Could you imagine?
Like Arya's just walking by one day and just sees a dead Jorah Mormont on the side of the road somewhere.
It'd be horrible.
Like, I'd be traumatized.
Well, at number 17, we have Podrick Payne. Good old Pod. Everybody's little favorite lovable squire.
I mean, he's one of those characters that you can't help but be entertained by, no matter like who he's with so far, whether it be with Tyrion and Bronn. Now he's like the ward of Brienne, which is so hilarious.
Especially because he's just not very good at his job. So she's just like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, Brienne's not going to take any of that trash that he's throwing out there.
She's always mad at seeing him like wander in a circle trying to figure out how to ride the horse.
Yeah, they were struggling.
But we love you, Pod. You're one of the good people running around here amongst the sea of terrible people. So
honestly.
All right. So coming in the next three-way tie.
Another tie. You were saying it was pretty much for us, a lot of them.
Yeah, so this one, we'll lump them again because we have two people from the same camp again, tying for 14, 15, and 16. We have Missandei and Dario Naharis, both obviously from Camp Daenerys. So how did you feel about those two this season?
Well, it was interesting to see Dario played by someone else. That
Woo!
That
New
was a
face
surprise
Dari.
when it popped up. It was a new guy. That was fun.
Yes.
Seeing like, oh, this is Dario. The guy. No, this is not Ed Skrein anymore. It's the guy from Hill House. So that was cool. But I still like Dario. I mean, he still kind of has like the same kind of personality. So at least they kind of kept that intact between the actor change. But yeah, I mean, he's an interesting character. I guess it's unfortunate because he's such a good character that like I mean, Jorah kind of lost his place. Especially because Dario, he really got in there. Like he's like pretty much like a full-on love interest to Daenerys, which is of course what Jorah wants. So, I don't know.
He got the mission done.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that sucks, I guess, is that Dario kind of like went away for a lot of this season. So like, he wasn't like heavily featured as much.
He pretty much after Daenerys was like, all right, let's see what you're working with. Then we didn't see too much with Dario.
No, he was like, I have to go somewhere for a while.
Yeah, she sent him off to go do some other work.
Yeah, Missandei's a cool character. I mean, I've liked her. I've liked her character arc so far, kind of, being like the right-hand woman to Daenerys and translating, and now she's getting like more of her own solo screen time without Daenerys and having this like budding relationship, like I said, with Grey Worm. So, it's a cute relationship. It's very rare in Game of Thrones to have like a cute relationship that you can root for. So,
one of the most pure, wholesome things on this entire show is that little relationship.
Yeah, even if it was a little bit weird the way that it started with her just bathing and he's just like staring in the distance.
Looks like Luca sitting over the edge.
Yeah, but I mean, she's into it though. So, I mean, whatever, it's cool, I guess.
As long as she gave her consent, which she did, so we're good.
Yeah, so cool.
Well, then also tied at 14 with those two, our latest dead character, we have Ygritte at number 14. Yeah. So Jon Snow's long lost love interest goes down this season. I think she suffers too she wasn't in it a whole lot. And one of her scenes is actually two, as just like killing people in a village. So
pretty much, yeah.
So I got a rampage and killing innocent people. She does have that somewhat redeeming moment with Gilly, thank God, because that probably would have pushed her over the edge of unredeemable if she would have killed Gilly and the baby.
If she killed Gilly and the kid, I think that would have put her in at least the bottom 5.
We would have thrown her down. Girl, you done. It's over for you, Ygritte.
I wouldn't have felt as bad about her getting killed by that random child.
No. But then she has that like fun exchange with Tormund, and I think it's a really nice little send off to her character in the end with Jon Snow. Yes, she killed Pip, but
a small sacrifice.
We had to do what we had to do. But how did you feel about Ygritte and her final performance of the show?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you said about the character. It's I liked it was a very weird relationship, but I did like the budding relationship between her and Jon Snow. And I guess like you could definitely see the chemistry on screen, especially because of the fact that they end up getting married in real life, the actor and actress. So definitely could tell they really were into each other.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it is unfortunate the way that it went out because they were obviously not meant. It's one of those, like, I guess, Romeo and Juliet kind of things where, like, he's from a place, he's from one place and she's from another place, and they're never going to get along. The Night's Watch and the Wildlings aren't ever going to get along, but they love each other. And, at least, I guess in this case, only half of them die because she gets killed, but Jon Snow lived. But, but yeah, it was a good character. Like you said, we kind of have to overlook some of the murdering of the people and other people in the show, but it is what it is. I'm gonna miss the character. I'm gonna miss the romance angle with Jon Snow and the quotes. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Now Jon has no more stories to tell Samwell. The source of his stories is gone.
Jon's gonna have to, I guess, get another love interest or something.
Well, speaking of people who serve as a big love interest of the story, at number 13, we have Marjorie Tyrell, who wasted no time after Joffrey was dead in the grave, and Lady Olenna sent her running, and she ran in and got her claws into Tommen quick.
It's pretty much, yeah. Wasted no time stinking in the closet, as I said earlier.
She was quick with the movements to get in there with little Tommen. But again, I'm like, we didn't get as much, I feel, time with her and Cersei this season, which was so much fun in season 3. Was like, I mean,
their banter back and forth with each other because they obviously don't know each other.
We'll talk about her, shockingly, still to come, but Cersei is, because she's so savage, she's a really fun character to play these other smart characters off of, or dumb ones like Pycelle. But so whenever she's around Marjorie, it just makes them both better because it's so fun. So I think that's probably what kept Marjorie out of the top 10, is just she didn't have quite as much to do like she did last season in her missions.
Right, yeah. Her kind of like a lot of her screen time, I would say, this season was relegated to talking to Tommen.
Yeah, had that weird conversation where Cersei was like, "Sure, marry Tommen," and we're like, "Oh, that was rather easy, Cersei. I don't know, but
yeah, she was into it for some reason."
All right. Well, at number 12, we have Sir Davos Seaworth, all the way up here. Another character like Marjorie probably would have been in the top 10 if he had just been in it a little bit more, because he's great.
I love Davos. Like, he's like the best part of that storyline. You know, with Stannis, Melisandre, the kids.
Yeah. Getting to see him work his magic at the Bank of Bravos for Stannis when Stannis.
Yeah, he's like the whole reason they got anything.
Yeah, the only reason they were able to get north to help the wildlings or Jon or whatever is because of Davos. Yeah, Davos is legit the MVP for you, Stannis.
Honestly, like, I mean, he should be the one that's in charge, I feel, over Stannis.
Wow. And then that funny little quip, obviously, and that the guy had to get that little quip in episode 10 before we departed.
Yeah.
But we just wish you were in it a little bit more, Davos. Didn't see enough of you this year. So
I imagine because of the way we leave things off in season 4, he'll probably be have more screen time in season 5. I at least hope.
Yeah.
You know, with Stannis being around.
Well, a character we did see a lot of this season, and this is far and away her highest ranking yet. We have Miss Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a hot take or controversial or not.
She's just so entertaining. Like, that's the thing with Cersei, is especially this season. I mean, she's doing horrible stuff still, but she's just so much fun to watch.
Honestly, I mean, like, I hate to say it, like that's the way to say it, but like, yeah, I mean, she's a terrible person, but like, she's like such a great terrible person.
Yes. Just running around again this season when she was running around that damn wedding, roasting everybody in her path. It was amazing.
Yeah, between everyone, and then there's like, I mean, there's so many moments I could think of that she was like great making. Just the fact that like she went through so much effort to make sure that like Tyrion would lose. Like, I'm going to grab the mountain to make sure that you cannot win.
Yeah. She definitely has her moments this season where you're like, Cersei, stop. Like, Tyrion didn't do this bullshit, but
don't care. She just is ready to get rid of him by any cost.
I think this season so far is definitely like peak entertainment Cersei so far. That's why she's crossed that threshold of just being someone you're kind of like, ugh, kill her, to, well, maybe we don't need her to die. Actually, she makes the show more entertaining, so I don't actually want her gone.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about her at this point. Like, I have a very much a love-hate relationship with her.
We don't want her to win. Yeah, don't succeed, Cersei, but don't get yourself killed right yet either.
I mean, especially like, I mean, my favorite scenes of Cersei have always been the ones where she's like drinking wine, like she's like extra savage when she gets the wine in her. I mean, I love it.
Yes. All right. That brings us into our top 10 with our next dead character, and that is Tywin Lannister at number 10.
Well, I figured with him being his final bow, you know, I mean, especially because of Charles Dance's performance. Like, I feel like he was worthy enough to like crack the top 10 this time.
Yeah, I said it in our finale with James. Tywin Lannister, for me, throughout the whole seasons, he was like my number one love to hate character because I thought he was such a good character. He was really well written. Charles Dance obviously killed it in the role, and he has such an intimidating presence about him whenever he's in the room that he's a great character and you're just drawn to him on the screen. And then he opens his mouth and says some of the most diabolical shit to Tyrion. And you're like, oh, you are a horrible person. But you're also smart. But he's also that check and balance for Joffrey, for Cersei, for all of these people. He's at least checking his family most of the time.
He's always putting everybody in their place, no matter who they are.
It's just nobody was there to put him in his place until Tyrion. Literally,
I miss the interactions he had with Arya. I think some of the best Charles Dance acting definitely in the show was between the scenes with him and Arya a couple seasons ago. But like, it's escalated to becoming like better. I think that was like the benchmark, and then it's gotten it's still been steadily good ever since.
Yeah, and so.
And the Tyrion stuff was great too, especially the end. Just the dramatic gravitas of the situation as he's on the toilet.
It's just even that like stare down at Tyrion's trial.
Oh, yeah,
just,
that was
staring
great
down at him.
That was amazing, to be honest.
him versus Cersei. The couple little times they got their little actions in together. Yeah, so it's very interesting to see the definite most powerful person in the show get killed, and what's gonna happen there. But
killed on the toilet of all places.
Killed. The wonderful irony of the great powerful Tywin Lannister being killed on the toilet.
What a way to go, man. You see all these people getting killed on the battlefield, and you probably would have figured a more dignified death for him would be to die in battle, especially at his age and his his power. Yeah. But no, killed on the toilet by his son.
Yeah. Well,
not even Jaime. Tyrion's the one that killed him.
Yeah, no, Tyrion. Well, speaking of Jaime, he is actually our number 9 for this season. We have Jaime Lannister. So Jaime went on a little bit of a roller coaster this season.
A lot of ups and downs.
It would have been pure, like, much better if they would have just found a way to make that weird rapey scene in that 3rd episode just either not happen or not make Cersei at least into it and not say no.
Other than that scene, I think I pretty much everything I was okay with Jaime, whether it be him bailing out his brother, basically, saving his brother's life. He couldn't actually fight for him, so I guess, which I guess is a good thing because he would have had to fight the mountain with one hand. But
he would have been dead. He'd have been gone. No more Jaime Lannister at the end of the season.
But yeah, it's interesting because like he was such like a hated character for the first probably 2 seasons, I feel, and then once he started like opening up more as he was captured. When he had that interaction with Brienne, he's kind of been like on a roller coaster ride of like a character that I do at least somewhat have empathy for now. Now I should say those first 2 seasons out, I wanted him dead.
Yes,
but now there's a little bit of some empathy there. Just the trauma he's had to endure, I guess, being a Lannister. As all of them are pretty messed up, I feel. But
yeah, in this season, particularly when everyone is against Tyrion, and Jaime's like the only person in his little brother's corner, it really makes him a very sympathetic person.
Yeah, just the fact that he really like actually went through with like helping Tyrion escape and giving him that sweet hug, and he was also willing to like risk everything he liked. He was willing to give it all up, his position at the Night's Watch, and do something he didn't want to do at all. Just to make sure that he would guaranteed not be killed. Little did he know they pulled the stunt and got Shay in the back that was about to screw it all up. But, good on you, Jaime. We love the attempt. He also gave Brienne that sword and the armor. They had their
quite romantic looking send off, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like one of the weird things, I guess, when it comes to the romance angle, because like he obviously has this romance with his sister, which has always been weird, and it'll never not be weird.
Never.
But then there's Brienne, who like I guess they kind of have like a romantic kind of entanglement, but like not really. But like I don't know. Like I mean, he has like a very interesting choice of women. Big strong women or sister. So I don't know. They're both kind of odd. They're both kind of odd, interesting choices. The contrast, I should say.
Yes.
So I don't know.
All right. Well, speaking of powerful women, we have a tie for number 7 and number 8 with Olenna Tyrell to kick us off on this one. Another character that would have just benefited from more time. Pretty much. Honestly, we could always have Olenna. That's how much I just love her when she's on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, she's fantastic. It's just like she was higher last season because partly she had so much great dialogue and screen time, and this season she, the Tyrells in general, they weren't really big players in the season.
Which is weird because, she was part of the orchestration of Joffrey's death, and we were getting to like a new wedding. But after we solved Joffrey's death, basically, Olenna wasn't really around again. So she made a lot out of that first half. Like we said, she checking her son, checking Tyrion again.
I mean, that's part of what makes her so great. It's just the dialogue that she's given, and just even the limited amount of screen time she has, she makes do with what she has to like leave an impression.
Yeah. And then getting in on like telling Marjorie, like, oh, I was not gonna let you. You thought I was gonna let you marry that monster? No, no, girl, we weren't letting that happen. And her like sex talk with Marjorie, I was good. I was very good, girl. Like, oh yes, okay, Olenna. But just wish she had more to any time in the second half of the season because she pretty much was gone.
Hopefully more next season. That's all I can hope for, I guess.
And then we have Brienne of Tarth tied with her at number 7. So her season was interesting as well. She has that moment with Jaime, a nice moment, getting her sword and her stuff.
Keeper, yeah.
And we get those interactions with Podrick, but they kind of just roam around for a while. Just roaming the sides. And then she gets an epic battle in the final episode.
It was a good battle. I mean, it didn't start out good, but eventually it got much more exciting. But yeah.
How'd you feel about Brienne this season?
I mean, I've always liked Brienne. I mean, she's a great, strong female character. Like, I think she's very well written. Very, very noble. She's still like still trying to do her best to do best by Catelyn, and I guess also Renly. She's got everyone that she kind of like is tried to rule, help out. They die. So I mean, that's so not really good luck there, I guess. But, I mean, she's always been a good character. Like, she's enjoyable to watch. She's badass. She gets some great lines here and there. She definitely is a character that you always enjoy watching. Like, there's never really any scenes where you dislike her. Even in the, even when you like the character she fights, you always like, you're like, well, I mean, I hope she wins. Like, that battle with the Hound was brutal.
Yeah. And that'll lead us right into number 6, because the Hound is our number 6. They're back to back on our list.
Well, it was probably, I mean, speaking of that battle, though, I guess since we are talking about the Hound, like, I mean, that was like a really exciting battle, but like that was probably like the most challenging battle she's ever had, other than fighting that bear. So,
yes,
which was wild, by the way. If it wasn't obvious already from our reactions when that happened, but like that was a pretty good battle, especially because the Hound is so huge and a formidable fighter, even if he was kind of like injured and
he had that like weird bite that was festering.
That guy's mouth apparently was like really infected. Because it messed up his whole body.
But yeah, it was definitely well, also because I mean, I guess she has fought like Jaime, who also was a little weakened in his state too, and he is a knight, but is not maybe the most noble person. But I don't know that she's fought someone quite as like grimy as the Hound, who is just like, nah, we don't play by no night rules here. It's kill or be killed at any and all costs.
Pretty much. And that fight pretty much showed that attitude because they were just like rolling around in the dirt, punching each other in the face, hitting each other with rocks and anything to get their hands on. Kicking people off ledges and but I do like the Hound. I mean, the Hound is another character that I wasn't a big fan of, but like as more time went on and he got more development and we kind of like saw, I guess, more of the layers peel back for his character, I became a little bit more sympathetic towards him, just because like he's kind of like forcibly like the surrogate father to Arya Stark because like he can't get rid of her. Every time he tries to get rid of her, the person dies. Like every time he goes somewhere. And
then when he has the chance to get rid of her, I mean, I guess that's, you mentioned it. I don't know if it was in the final cut, but you mentioned it because as he's on his like deathbed, he says, "You should have went with the big bitch. Like she would have kept you safe." And you're like, if you thought that, why did you literally just fight this woman to the death who was like, "I don't want to kill you"? Like she even explicitly says to you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it was just a very odd circumstance. Now you agree with what she was saying. After you got off the ledge.
But he's just so funny. Like, I mean, even when you feel bad because he says some pretty savage shit to Arya.
Yeah. And just the way they go about their adventure, where they're like kind of helping people, but like not at the same time.
I mean, he's teaching Arya where the heart is to stab people.
Yeah, I mean,
he also slapped Arya to the ground this season after she tried to stab him through the chainmail. Yeah,
with the water dancing. He's not a big fan of her water dancing.
When he just like laughed in her face about poor Serial Pharrell. That's when you're like, "Oh, Hound, I mean, I love you, but damn, you just are so savage to this little girl."
Yeah,
I mean, but she's savage back, so I'm,
Well, that's why they're so great. That's part of why they're so great because they match their energies match so perfectly. Yeah. And I guess that's part of the things I'm worried about for season 5 because it seems very clear that like they're going to be separated, whether it be Arya's going to sail across the world, I assume.
So she's on a ship for sure.
Yeah, and the Hound is just laying somewhere with a broken leg. So
they're dead.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he's alive still, just because we didn't see him die. So that's just my rationale. So I don't know what they're gonna do separated. That kind of bums me out that they're gonna be separated, and the Hound is gonna be roaming around aimlessly too. Is it gonna be like one of those things that maybe is he gonna run into Jorah somewhere, and they're gonna be like a ragtag?
That'll be the new ragtag team, Jorah and the Hound.
The outcasts, the crazy angry swordsman, and the super simp Jorah.
Super simp.
Like
Jorah just maybe he just give up on life because he knows that Dario made it.
I would be devastated if like you get the next episode of season 5 and you just pan over to Jorah like jumping off a cliff.
He just commits suicide. Anyway, all right, our top 5. Leo and Ryan have been in here at random times, but if they watch this on the playback, if they're not here currently, kicking off our top 5, they'll be very happy to know is Jon Snow, breaking that top 5 for the first time in our ranking.
It took a lot of development in season 4 to get him finally up the threshold.
Yes, he gained a lot of leadership skills up at the Night's Watch, and he's his time with Ygritte made him a little bit less just pouty vanilla. Got a little bit of attitude to him. Got a little bit like extra spunk and personality to him now.
Yeah, that's part of what made him such a better character overall. Who would have thought all it took was him like getting with a woman, to loosen him up a bit.
He needed some action.
Yeah. Ever since then, like I guess Ygritte's personality kind of wore off on him, rubbed off on him in some shape or form.
He also had some really awesome fight sequences this season, including that, like, I can't actually remember if I think it was season 4 where he put that freaking knife through that man's freaking head.
Oh, God.
That brutality. And then obviously the last episode 9 was pretty awesome, and him killing Stir. First of all, I was like, oh damn. But even get into him. So yeah, I've liked seeing John this season more than any of the others. He's also not roaming so much, so it's not just like him walking all the time.
That was one of my main gripes for season 2, because like that was back when I was like, I don't understand the hype about this guy. Like
Because I mean,
y'all hype up Jon Snow. All I heard for years was Jon Snow this, Jon Snow that, and then it's like season 2, he's just walking around the whole season. It's like, okay, well, I'm waiting still to see what the hype is about, and I guess season 4 is kind of like that's the turning point, at least for now. For now. You know, he could get worse next season. You never know.
Yeah, I feel like it worked for Arya, but it's hard to like pull off a main character just wandering all the time, because it doesn't work for Bran. It did not work for Jon, and like Tyrion and Daenerys and Cersei. All those characters stay put. Like they move a little bit, but they spend time at a place. They're not just roaming.
I think Arya's definitely helps the fact that she's with like good characters.
Yeah.
Like if Jon Snow was like roaming around with like much more exciting characters than the Night's Watch, that it probably would have been a little bit more enjoyable, because like overall the Night's Watch kind of have like the personalities of like stale bread. So I'm not really hyped when I see the Night's Watch.
I mean, all right. Well, we're happy, John. You finally broke the top 5. The hype has been realized.
Great development for Jon Snow this season, and I get to know the catchphrase now. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Well, coming in at number 4 is our highest new character, and also our highest dead character, and that is Prince Oberyn Martell. We didn't even know you for a full season, Oberyn, and we are all the more angry for it.
What a waste to bring in someone like as great as Pedro, and he doesn't even make a full season.
What a damn good character. And they made us like love him so fast, and then kill him so brutally.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But such a great character up until that point. His personality was very easily likable. His motivations were very interesting, very easy to get invested in. Pedro Pascal is just a great actor. It's funny because, I guess I saw some of his career in reverse, because, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I just knew going into, say, The Mandalorian and I guess, Wonder Woman 1984, everybody always hyped up about how great he was in Game of Thrones, because that was, I guess you could say his big break into, the mainstream audiences. And now looking back, I can see why, this was, his big break, I guess, into the mainstream stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like him. It's really hard not to like a character like Oberyn, and that's why it makes you more angry that he was too cocky and got himself killed in the process.
Oh, it just was one, he's our bisexual king, obviously, right off the bat. Him and Ilaria made us love Dorne quick. Literally, their very first scene, and you're like, oop. And then, once again, seeing him stand up to Cersei and Tywin like he did, and join in on the roasting real fast.
Yeah, there was some fun scenes like that, when the roasting, and then him making eyes at Loras.
Yeah.
Across the way.
With that little freaking prostitute boy at Baelish's. Little sneak bastard he is, but still. And then obviously that amazing speech he gives to Tyrion when he comes in to tell him he's going to be your champion. Oh, it's so good. The whole story leading up. Well, I guess other than Jaime, obviously, it was one of the best moments for Tyrion. Finally someone giving him life affirmation.
Well, after everybody turned him down. It's gotta be Oberyn, which would make sense because he's the one who actually had motivation to kill the Mountain. So it was just perfect circumstances.
Yeah, and he had a clear mission. We were on board with his clear mission. And his fighting was awesome until
He should have wore a helmet.
let himself get killed.
He should have wore a helmet.
The ultimate RIP. Oberyn, we wish you were in more seasons. I wish you were still alive.
He should have. He got too cocky. He didn't wear a helmet. He was drinking. So many factors. That's why it's so frustrating, the way he died, and the fact that his death was horrifying as well. So.
Well, then at number 3, we have Daenerys Targaryen. So she conquered her last slave city this season of Meereen in a really cool fashion, actually, by just giving them the old chains as a symbol to be like, yo, see what I do? I come and I free the folks. Let's do this.
She is the breaker of chains. So I guess it's very, very symbolic.
Very symbolic. But then, she's had a lot of W's over the season 3. And this season, the W's come to a halt for a moment as she starts going through some strife. We're getting burnt goats, and then we get some burnt children. We get the whole Jorah debacle. And she closes out the season with one dragon on the loose who's running around burning folks, and she locks up her other 2 dragons. So she's currently
a season of growth for Daenerys. Definitely.
That's what it was. It wasn't as epic as season 3 was for her, where she just got big moment after big moment.
I think that's part of why she was a little bit further down in my ranking this year, just because it was not because she was bad in any case. Definitely it was a downgrade in the epic scale and exciting moments like you mentioned, but for the most part, it was a good growth season for her as she's growing into trying to become a leader and maintain everything, and even the drama inside of her own camp with Jorah. There's a lot of, and then the dragons are on the loose, murdering anything they can. Or it should say it's more so Drogon, I'd imagine, than the other 2. But even still, the drama having to try and free these people that apparently don't want to be free. So.
Yeah, having people come back saying they want to be slaves again. I did like that this season, maybe more than season 3. We got random kind of just chill moments with Daenerys. So obviously we get the moment where she's like, all right, Dario, take off your clothes then. You got to talk a game. Let's see. But also that girl talk moment she gets a couple times with Missandei about Grey Worm, questioning what the Unsullied have going on down there. I mean, so it was nice at least because she's definitely been in queen mode so much to get those little moments of her just chilling and being a person. So yeah, Daenerys chilling in Meereen for a season. Well, coming in at number 2, we have Arya Stark. I mean, she's great all the time. Yeah. And you pair her with another character that was number 6 on our list, who is also great. And it's a recipe for success.
Pretty much. I mean, she's always been such a great character, likable, fun, in all the right ways, even if she's doing violent stuff, if you will, murdering people with needle and laughing when she realizes that her aunt is dead because it's another BS step in her story, because every time she tries to get sold to someone, they die before they get there.
Her family just dying right before she sees them
every time.
I love her dynamic. I love her dynamic with the Hound, because it just ebbs and flows this whole season between pure anger and hatred, like when he knocked that old man out and stole his money. She's like, you're horrible, to sympathetic after he got bit and actually trying to help him heal it and listening to his story, to then trying to stab him through the chainmail.
Yeah, that between that and then also mentioning all the people's names, and like list all these people that she has in her list of people to kill, and then he's the last one. And
she's not shy about any of that. I did like the moment where she had to get that guy's name before she killed him.
Yeah, who are you? And it's like, oh, okay,
cool. Thanks for the name.
Yeah, and then I guess it's kind of funny. I guess when you put it in the retrospect, she was like so angry by the Hound beating that guy up and taking his money, and then in the last episode of season 4, she sees the Hound basically left for dead and takes the money and leaves.
She took his advice. He said, "Dead men don't need silver, so I'm gonna go ahead and just take this and go."
Yeah, great parallel. Great moment to build on for the season for them.
Sometimes you got to watch what you teach the people. It's gonna come back and bite you in the ass.
That's literally what happened. He wanted to die, and she said, "No, I'm gonna let you suffer and take your money. Have fun laying here and doing whatever. I'm gonna go sail across the world."
Whew. Her leaving him there and staring at him like that was definitely the most savage moment Ari has had to me so far this series. I mean, it was savage.
But her and the Hound are one of the best parts of the show, which is one of the things I guess, like I said before, hesitant about for season 5 because they're not going to be together. So, like, the dynamics are obviously going to shift because she's going to have to be more independent. Where she's going. Well, I should say we know where she's going, but we don't know who's there. Yeah. So who could be there? That could be, I guess, be a supplement for a supporting cast for her. Could they potentially be as good as the Hound or worse? That could probably knock her down as far as liking her. And I mean, I hope that maybe one day the Hound and her, if things work out, they can reconcile. That could be awkward if they ever do meet up again.
Well, coming in at number 1, after taking a break in season 3, he slipped down to number 2 for a season, but he's back in his spot. We have Tyrion Lannister. He actually was number 1 on both of our lists this time. So,
I mean, how can you not have him at number 1 after that trial, to be honest?
This season, honestly, I mean, I think season 2 Tyrion is great, but it's like season 2 and season 4 are like my top 2 seasons for Tyrion. This was Tyrion's season. Like, I just...
Pretty much. How could you not have him at number 1, to be honest?
Like, the moment with Joffrey at the wedding, that interaction, one is just great acting from Peter Dinklage as he's, trying to, keep himself as composed as possible as Joffrey is just acting horrible.
He rolled out the midgets, the little people, whatever proper term.
Was And then obviously he is going through it in this prison, seeing his little interactions with people in there. Again, really great acting from Peter Dinklage as in that sad moments or those really touching moments.
He has a lot of moments where his obviously his spirit's pretty much broken and he's down in the dirt because he's basically expecting death. So
waiting for someone
kind of hard to be very jovial when you're gonna get murdered soon.
And then we get to that trial and that monologue, the iconic monologue from Tyrion in that courtroom. He just had it when Shay walked in there and talked all that bullshit.
Let you all die.
Yeah, he let that crowd and those people at King's Landing have it. And then, that stare down with his father.
He went off the script because he was supposed, he was, supposed to go one way, and I got demanded trial by combat.
Yes.
But it's always funny because it keeps getting a trial by combat, but he's never the one that fights in the trial by combat. So it's just kind of a funny thing where he's always like, I will do a trial by combat, but not me, though. Y'all have someone else fight for me.
Yeah. And then he obviously, again, seeing his reaction to Oberyn's story was really great. Even when he's telling this really random story about his cousin and these beetles to Jamie.
That was really weird.
You're like, what the hell are you talking about, Tyrion? But Peter Dinklage just finds a way to make you at least entertained with this really weird story.
Yeah, that was I had actually almost forgotten about that.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That was an odd tangent of a story that he was just telling while he was in prison.
But then seeing his face just when Oberyn actually loses and just
Yeah.
the life sucked out of his
Like-
face.
Yeah, he's like, oh crap, I'm actually going to die.
Yeah, and then obviously this last episode, he goes through the gambit once again, seeing, going through that emotional moment with Jamie, and then seeing Shay in that bed and having to kill Shay. But was really emotional, and then
With Tywin, especially, the
that scene with
emotion
Tywin.
tied into the scene.
Yes, and that's, I mean, as horrible as Tywin is to him, man, Charles Dance and Peter Dinklage on screen was just always electric. Every time those two shared the screen together, it was amazing. And they made it work there at the end, too. Just like,
and Tyrion had to remind him he was still his son at the end.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting because when you look at it, he spent so much of the season just like in a jail cell, and you're just like, it's still his season. Like he far and away like shined as the main thing you cared about this season is Tyrion. And what was
and almost everyone wanted him dead. Especially Cersei, of course. But,
Cersei when she smiled when the mountain won. And they're all giddy that Tyrion was going to die.
Well, that's part of like what makes Cersei such an interesting, I guess, evil character, because it's like she got her way after everything, because it looked like Oberyn was going to win. Like he was kicking his ass, and he got caught, then he slipped up and then lost. But
yeah, so
I know Tyrion was hyped for that fight for a while there.
Yeah. Well, there it is. Tyrion has returned to our number 1 spot for season 4. Do you all agree? Was Tyrion the best character of season 4? Do you agree that Joffrey deserved last place one last time while we could still put him there?
Yeah, with where Tyrion leaves off, I wonder, like, wherever he'll end up being, could he potentially still be number 1 with wherever he goes while he's on the run, I guess, and whatever you call witness protection in Game of Thrones world. He's in hiding.
We'll see. Well, make sure to come back and join us as we get into season 5 and those reactions soon. And Tyler, why don't you let everybody know where to find you?
Yeah, well, if you search up my name, you'll find my channel on here, Tyler Calvert, for reviews, reactions, all that jazz, much like on Larry's channel. And also you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Tyler Calvert.
Perfect. And if you like this ranking and you enjoy our Game of Thrones content here on the channel, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. I love you all so much for your continued support, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.